Today, we saw stocks come crashing lower, and we saw the fear and greed index actually tick a little bit lower down to 69. When we started off the day, the fear and greed index was right into extreme greed territory. Oil prices in at the highest in a week as Iran launches missile attacks at Israel. Now today, we were talking about this during the live stream. Iran was firing dozens of missiles into Israel as the Middle East conflict basically escalates. And one of the things I missed out today on the live stream was when the NASDAQ first started crashing lower, I originally thought it was all about the port strike and things going on of such. However, somebody in the chat said, hey, look at crude oil. Crude oil is rocketing up today. And I said, uh-oh, maybe there's something going on in the Middle East. So what I do at that point, I turn on Financial Juice. And if I would have been paying attention this morning, at 9:32, Financial Juice came out with a warning saying Iran was getting ready to attack Israel. So I should have been paying very close attention to the news today. And we also come over and take a look at gold. Gold was on the move up today as well. We look at gold out here on the daily chart, not closing near the high of the range. But again, all these factors showing us there was uncertainty in the market. Bonds were going up, crude oil was going up, gold was going up, and our markets were crashing lower. However, is there going to be more escalation in the Middle East? Because right here from this news article, Israel military vows consequences for Iran attack. So to me, this does not sound like Israel is going to pull back. It sounds like they're going to escalate even further. And if that's going to be the case, what is that going to mean for stocks moving forward? Now we come over and look at how the indices fared across the board. The Dow was down 173 points. The NASDAQ down 278 points. S&P 500 down 53 points, and the Russell 2000 down 3. Now we look at advancing issues versus declining. We had 68.6% of issues declining on the day, so overwhelmingly stocks were on the sell side for today. Then we come over and look at sectors across the board. Energy, no surprise, leading the way out there, followed by utilities, which is a defensive play. Technology basically getting clobbered, and for all intents and purposes, Apple really was getting slaughtered today on two fronts. One, we had the port strike going on. Two, we had the problem going on in the Middle East. So you can see Apple today absolutely getting destroyed, down 2.91%. Now you can see we're actually closed with a B as in boy shaped profile, and we're going to see, is there lower prices to come? Is the stock market getting ready for a severe downturn? We know quite often the first 2 weeks of October tend to be a little bit bearish for the market. We take a look at the dollar index today. We can see the dollar index was on the move up as well and really pushing back off these lows. MACD indicator is showing that we've had divergence as we've had a low. We keep making lower lows. The MACD indicator did not continue to make new lows. And now we could see the dollar actually rally all the way up towards this first minus development area. Now, if we look at crude oil real quick back on the daily chart, one of the areas we were watching for a bounce was anywhere between the 61.8 and the 78.6. If crude oil can get above the swing high at 72.46, watch out, we're probably going to 74.26, right within this high volume node within the volume profile. Now we come over and look at NVIDIA today. NVIDIA was down 3.66%. Again, also being thrown out today. And again, most stocks today did not fare very well. We look at Meta. Meta today was actually up $4.03. We take a look at Google today. Google was also up $1.23. However, when we come over and look at Bitcoin, and we think about Bitcoin as risk on, risk off, Bitcoin having another down day, down over 2,000 points. Netflix also suffering a pullback today, down 3.14. Now, when we come over, we look at the SPY real quick. We're going to start off with the SPY. You see, we have a little bit of a buying tail, but let's not forget, all right? We do have this gap right over here, down about 561.48. That could be a point of interest in the very near future. And now the black swan event that we talked about last night, talking about the strikes, may not be the true black swan event. Maybe it's going to be the escalation over in the Middle East. Now, this gap is going to be something I do want to pay attention to. On the 4-hour chart, we see the MACD indicator just starting to roll over. And as we dive down and look at the 1-hour chart, you can see we are below the zero line. We're starting to flatten out here just a bit. Now, when we look at the 30-minute volume profiles, notice all the way up here, we have very poor market structure. And you can see right off the rip today, boom, we came into the first minus development area, which we can go ahead and remove. Now, it's going to be very interesting. Do we come back and basically try to re-auction this whole area up here where we have very poor market structure, or are we going to turn and continue to go lower? Now, we could also make the case that we have a left shoulder, head, right shoulder trying to form over here, but all that's going to be thrown out if we can get back below the lows of 566. As we come over and look at the futures markets real quick, notice where we came down to today, right within that minus development area of the profile. Look out here on the weekly chart, right within that minus development area as well. But let's not forget, we still have this high volume node naked POC at 56.97 and a quarter in this high volume area of the composite profile. We'll see if indeed that is going to take shape, and we're going to make our way down towards that area. Now, when we look out here on the daily profiles, we were able to come all the way back up towards a 50% retracement. And that area today was something I talked about during the live stream before we signed off. I said a pullback, this could be an area where we come back and retest. We did more than tested. We actually shot a little bit past that area. Now for tonight, you can see we're closing right around the point of control at 5761.75. We have value area high up here at 5773.75. Value area low down here at 5443.75. So here's how I want to play this. If we can get back above value area high, then I kind of want to target this whole minus development area up here. One, we have a structure breakdown point, which should come back and get tested when we start to see some, upper prices. So that's going to be a target location. However, if Isreal goes on the offensive as early as tonight, that could be problematic. There could be more selling to come in this market. As we talked about with the weekly profiles in the composite profile, this could be a target area that could definitely be hit, especially with the catalyst of what's going on in the Middle East. I want to make you guys aware, Apex is still having their 80% sale across all their valuation accounts. $35 reset fees, passed in as little as 1 day. And if you want to take advantage of this offer, use the link in the description box down below. Use promo code Mike at checkout. Now, when we come over and look at the QQQs today, you can see what are we doing? We're finally getting into that large gap. However, we did not fill the gap today, but we are getting within it. Then as we come over and we look at the 1 hour chart, what do we see? MACD indicator is below the zero line. So do we start to get a bounce up, or are we simply going to roll over? We can make the case that we do have this A to B equals C to D pattern forming out here on the 1 hour chart. And that gives us a price completion down here about 472.67. However, if we look left, that would not be enough to fill that large gap. We need to get down towards 471.36. So if we do go lower, maybe we overextend a little bit to the downside. Out here on the 30-minute chart, you can see the volume profile. We have a B as in boy shaped profile. We have very poor market structure at this upper end of the range. And as we look at this, you can see we're closing within value. Now, I do think it's highly probable we're going to hit this point of control at 480.28. But the real question is, are we going to flush lower? Can we make it down towards this gap? What I'm going to say is if we get below value area low, I want to target the lows from today. Then I want to target the wick of that last 30-minute candle of that gap day at about 475.79. Then look all the way down here for the gap being filled. If we get above value area high, I want to look for the market to re-auction anywhere from 484 all the way up here to about 487.94. Now, when we come over and we look at the weekly volume profile levels, notice we were able to come into that minus development area. Now, I talk about this all the time. The first time we come in, we expect a bounce or a consolidation. We got the bounce. Now we're going to go back down, run the wick. We still have that untested point of control at 19,664.75. So if we start breaking below the value areas, this could be another target to the downside we need to focus on. As we come over and we look at the profiles real quick, what do we have shaping up? Value area high is going to come in at 20,055.00. We have the point of control down here at 19,933.50. Value area low will come in at 19,875.00. Now, if we do start getting back above value area high, I'm going to want to target this little minus development area within the profile. And that area is going to be right up in here. And that's going to be in the ballpark of 20,140 all the way down here to about 20,122. But again, I'm not going to be concerned with that level unless we can get back above value area high. Now, if we go above value area high, we start coming down. That's when I want to target the point of control, value area low. And if we break value area low, that's when I really want to focus on the other weekly targets that we talked about to the downside. And again, that untested point of control and potentially all the way down here towards value area low. Now, we come over and look at the Dow today. Notice we have double hammer candles right up in here. And are we going to simply flush them, or is that a sign of strength and the market's going to simply push up and go ahead and take out the ABC pattern to the upside at about 430.21? One thing I would caution on is the MACD indicator looks like it's getting ready to roll over. Then out here on the 1 hour chart, we're flatline near the zero line. So not a huge edge on that chart. On the 30-minute chart, notice today we were able to see the Dow actually get back in the green after being sold off early on. And for all intents and purposes, the last 2 days, we're doing nothing more than consolidating around this area. Now, yesterday, we were able to fill this gap right over here, along with the gap from the prior day. So with the Dow, can it hold up at these upper levels, or are we going to start to flush lower? Keep in mind, the gap from the day after the FOMC to get filled would be all the way down here at 416.27. Now, as we look at the IWM, the Russell 2000, today we're able to come down, hitting the 38% Fibonacci retracement level. Now the question is, do we go deeper? Do we come down towards the 50% level? MACD indicator looking a little bit weak, but we don't quite have that bearish cross just yet. On the 1 hour chart, notice, all right, MACD indicator is kind of flattened out below the 0 line. And then as we dive down and look at the 30-minute chart, notice today, all right, we push down. We have a B as in boy shaped profile. Now, normally if we get above value area high, that says we're going to explore the upper third of the range. We'll see how that shakes out for tomorrow. Now, notice this could also be part of a bear flag pattern that could resume to the downside. So tonight is going to be critical. We got to trade very, very cautiously, especially with a threat of Israel going back on the offensive against Iran. If the tensions over in the Middle East continue to escalate, that is going to be a problem. Now, we look at the news that we have coming out for tomorrow. Tomorrow morning, we have another round of employment data coming out at 8:15 a.m. We have the ADP non-farm employment change. Now, if you guys like to learn how to set up Quant Tower for fast track trading, make sure to watch this video right here.